Culture swap.
Swap my culture.
Happy Mother's Day, America.
The good news, Liam, is we've managed to drag out this episode long enough that when this is inevitably really short, it won't feel too bad.
Yeah, exactly. That was the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's be honest. Why did we do 50 Shades of Grey, a XXX adaptation?
Because I wanted to do 50 Shades 2,
Yeah.
50 Shades Darker.
Yeah.
You said no.
I did a Google search.
Yeah, and you were like, I've got something, it's worse.
No, I mean, so I did a Google search about 50 Shades 2 and went, do you get to see Christian Grey's penis in it? And the answer was no, you don't. I thought, what's the fucking point in watching that?
No, he wears sex jeans, Liam.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like,
How are you going to see his penis if he's wearing sex jeans?
Yeah, the reason why we landed on this is because I really want to see Christian Grey's cock.
It's a weird need you have, but yeah.
I just think it's so... we've gone into this in the previous culture swap, but it's just...
It's weird that they don't... in a book about sex.
They don't show a cock.
Yeah.
And I
It
get
is
it.
weird.
Oh, you know, America's very sensitive about penises. I mean, sure, stick like a million phallic like images in a film.
Yeah,
that's
but don't show a
fine.
penis.
But an actual penis. Oh, show someone like literally getting cut open and their insides ripped out, and see them getting melted by acid or being drowned in the mushed up intestines of dead pigs. That's fine.
No penises.
Don't show a penis.
It is weird that that's a thing, but I feel like that's a discussion for another time, not in the 50 Shades XXX.
Because in the 50 Shades of Grey, a XXX adaptation, you get to see a penis. You get to see a couple.
Can I also point out, Liam, that I predicted I think in the last episode when we were talking about this,
Yeah.
I predicted that we would see his sex genes still.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
you do.
Yeah.
They do not stay on for very long,
No.
but you do see the sex genes, and that was maybe my favourite part of this film.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird film. Like, the film opens with a couple of, like... It's the credits, and they're interspersed with shots from, like, a weird bondagey scene. And then it just dives straight into, like, 15 minutes of just plot, basically.
Yeah, so this film, and I don't know if this is a good thing or not, okay?
Okay.
For me, I'm sort of impressed that they did it.
Okay.
So I guess good. This film stays pretty true to the 50 Shades story,
It does, yeah.
which is kind of impressive. Like, to sit down and be like, we're going to make a porn version of this.
No, but...
And also, we're going to leave all the plot in. Like, as a bold choice.
If anything, though, I think all it does is highlight how little plot there is in the book.
Oh, yeah, but that's good.
I mean, it's a
Because
bold
you're like-
choice, but I just think it only accentuates the weaknesses of the book by going, it is basically just sex.
Yeah, 100%.
And so we've watched the films. We haven't read the book. Well, I haven't. I don't know about you.
No. Good lord, no.
But we've watched the first film, so the plot was familiar to me.
Yep.
So we kind of go over old ground where she goes to interview Christian Grey. She's kind of subbing in for her roommate.
Yeah.
The interview, I don't know, Christian Grey takes us trying into Anastasia Steele. It gets her to sign a contract. Boom, we're into our first sex scene.
Well, she doesn't sign the contract, does she, for ages?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. He tells her about his whole thing.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna bone you.
Yeah, she's like, I'm a virgin.
And he's like, well, I'm not gonna bone you then. I'm gonna make love to you.
Yeah, we've got to do this right.
Cue 20-minute sex scene.
Yeah, cue spitting on his hand and rubbing her vagina. Because that's how you make love to someone, right?
Yeah, it's not, I don't think, but it's a bold. It's not great.
He wears a condom,
He does.
so that's good. Safe sex, it's important.
Yeah, doesn't that ties into like a later scene where he's like, I'm going to take you to a doctor and get you an IUD, doesn't he?
Yeah, basically. It's
That's so unerotic.
yeah. But you know, Christian Grey apparently is quite desirable for women. Don't know if you picked up on that.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm guessing that's why these books are so popular, right?
but I mean,
Because are you aware that there is a film out in the cinema at the moment called Book Club, which is
About
it's about these old women discovering 50 Shades of Grey and kind of firing up their sex lives again.
I am aware that film exists.
To me, it just feels like propaganda for 50 Shades of Grey, which is a weird thing.
Yeah.
I don't get how these books have become so successful that, like, not only is a film made adapting the book, but then just another film is made just about how good these books are. It just doesn't make sense to me.
No, it's insane. Let's get back to the porn, Liam.
Oh, okay.
That's what everyone's here for.
I thought you'd never ask. Right, so we've got a sex scene.
Yeah, the sex scenes in this film
Long.
are too long.
But I warned you about that, because this isn't my first porn parody type film that I've seen.
No, and I've seen a porn parody before, and I'm aware that...
Which
I mean,
one?
it is a porn, so obviously the sex scenes are long.
Which one have you seen?
Suicide Squad.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But it's just... I don't know.
When
you're sitting there and you're looking at a timestamp of 2 hours 30...
Yeah.
And you hit your first sex scene, and you're like, oh my god. And it just carries on.
Yeah.
It does... You're sort of like... If you'd have trimmed down some of these, I don't need to see them make love and then move into a bathroom and then come back out for more sex. That's 3 sex scenes I don't need.
No,
just do one.
Yeah, so the thing I found with watching these sorts of films is I always just want them to get back to, like, the dialogue bits. Because I get bored with the sex after a while. I mean, who's sat there watching it for 20 minutes just beating off? You either come... or you find porn that's going to work for you better, right? You don't need it to last that long.
That's what I don't get about these films. Who is the target audience for these?
I mean, okay, so by that, are you talking about just porn films in general? Or are you talking specifically about the 50 Shades one? Because I have the same question about the 50 Shades one.
I have it about all these sort of films, where it's like 2 hours. Because that's too long. You don't need that.
But who's the target audience of 50 Shades of Grey, a XXX adaptation? Because the books are clearly targeting women.
Yep.
And they hit that target great. Therefore, logically, it makes sense to assume that the films are targeting women.
Yes, but it is very...
very heavy on the female nudity, which that fact alone pretty much renders this porn parody redundant. Because, I'm sorry, but Dakota Johnson is... I think she looks better naked than Allie Haze.
Well, let's not compare the women, Liam.
I'm just saying.
I mean, I can't believe I've had to tell you that twice. Once off recording and once in the recording.
No, you told me not to body shame off the recording.
Yes, and you saying that that the other actress is way more attractive than this porn actress is kind of body shaming.
That's just my personal preference, that's all.
Right, fine.
It's like how Ellen Page is my number one. That isn't necessarily me being mean to all other women. That's just saying Ellen Page is number one.
Right, okay.
Anyway, so we're moving on. So is it to appeal to, like, men who have heard their spouse talking about this and like, well, I should probably find out what the story is, but I also want 2 hours of porn to keep me entertained? Like, I just don't get who the audience is.
Okay, so genuinely, I've just sort of thought this.
Alright, come on then.
Is it, and I'm gonna, this could be completely wrong. Do you reckon that the idea of this film, like the target audience, is people who are like, because some couples do the whole like, oh, let's watch a porn to get in the mood, right?
Yeah.
And I can imagine a lot of women in relationships like that are probably like, I don't really want to watch this sort of
Suicide Squad.
the standard porn that's clearly aimed towards a male audience.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're into dicks, standard porn's probably not ideal for that.
But this also wouldn't be ideal for
No, but that's what I'm saying. So do you reckon this is like a marketing thing where they were like, look, if we make one that's 50 Shades of Grey, all the men are going to be like, oh, let's buy a porn. And the wife's like, no, I don't want to. And then they're like, it's 50 Shades of Grey.
I don't know.
Not knowing that the actual film is just sort of a generic porn with the 50 Shades of Grey plot around it.
I think if I was a woman with a guy that was into porn and stuff, right, which I'd be fine with, and he was like, hey, should I spend like 20 quid on this 50 Shades of Grey porn? I'd be like, nah, get me a butt plug.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just saying, like, that money could be better spent, I think, for a woman than on this.
I mean, I'm just putting forward an idea, Liam, that I think someone probably had when they made this film.
Yeah, it could be how they got this out the door. I don't know. It's weird that this exists, I think.
It is weird that it exists.
It feels like anything that's even remotely popular has some sort of porn parody, though. So maybe it's just like, well, this one hasn't been done yet. We have to tick that box.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't understand.
No. It also falls into the same problem that the actual film and assumedly the book have, where they don't really deal with BDSM the correct way,
Oh yeah. No.
Like, the BDSM in this film is just... I mean, I think that's a problem in the mainstream porn industry anyway.
Yeah, and this is something that we
From
did
what I
discuss
understand.
at length on the culture.
Yeah,
Shock
I don't.
Freaky
Yeah, so I'm
Shows
not going
regarding-
to I'm not going to go fully back into it, but it does fall into that same issue where you're like, I don't think this is a good representation of it.
Yeah, it definitely isn't. So
And
yeah,
also keep in the child abuse storyline,
yeah,
which is a little bit weird in a film that's assumedly meant to be arousing you.
yeah. It is. It's very weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you have the first sex scene where he deflowers her. Then they go.
God, I don't know why, but you saying that is disgusting.
Then they go and have a bath, obviously,
Yep.
where she gives him a blowy, and
Were you tempted to say it?
no, I can't remember how. I'm not that.
Slobs his knob.
She slobs his knob. Where she gives him a blowy and he gets all jizzy, and then they have like another sex scene, I believe.
Yeah. Where he ties her hands up on the bed or something.
Yeah, so it's starting to get a bit like, ooh, bit ooh.
Yeah.
Then I believe she walks in on her roommate having sex with his brother.
Yeah. Because,
They
don't knock.
I don't think they do enough with the whole voyeuristic aspect to that they could have done more with that. Like, you see her like watching a little bit, but then she's basically forgotten about, and within the space of the scene, it's never established if she's still there or not.
No.
Which I don't know why they made that decision, but that's a decision they made. Then you have the horrible scene where it's the older woman having sex with this like guy wearing a gimp mask and stuff.
Yeah,
and
which I think is meant to be him when he's younger.
Yeah, I think so. And it basically ends with him sliding his penis between her breasts until he does a cum.
Does it come?
And then you get into like the BDSM stuff, and then it basically ends. Although, so the BDSM stuff does cover several sex scenes, and it has one of my favourite sex scenes where he blindfolds her and makes her listen to music while he makes sex with her. It's not love, is it? Let's be honest. He doesn't make love to her. He makes sex with her.
That song is amazing.
It's a good song, and I liked that scene just because I thought it was a bit different. They basically do just amp up the volume of the song and lower the volume of all the other stuff going on.
Yes.
And yeah, it's probably my favourite sex scene of the film. But at this point, we're probably at least an hour and a half in, and I like variety in my porn. So seeing like the same actress go through a bunch of different positions, I don't know. 20 minutes is plenty, and we have so much that.
And it's all so generic.
Yeah,
like because the BDSM is so mild.
It is. There's one big grievance I have.
Go on.
There are shots that last way too long where it's a real tight shot. Okay, so imagine this. I'm going to try and paint a word picture so you don't have to watch this, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm sorry, listeners.
Imagine camera placed on a bed. In front of you is a woman with her legs spread, the hungry mouth of the vagina staring down the barrel of the camera.
I'm sorry if my parents are listening to this.
Why would they be?
I don't know. If this is like the one they've picked back up. Ugh.
Anyway, so where was I?
Tight shot on the woman's spread legs.
Oh, and the hungry mouth of the vagina staring down the barrel of the camera at you. Okay, so imagine that.
Please don't give it face features.
Then imagine, right, that this view of the vagina is somewhat obscured by the arse of a man, and then imagine so imagine at the moment you're on the bed. Then imagine the camera sort of starts sliding down a bit, right? So you're kind of looking up at the vagina, and you've got the man there, and he's got his balls, and his shaft is sliding in and out of the vagina, and the balls are just sort of slapping against it, right? And then just imagine that...
Stop making the noise.
Just imagine that lasting for about 2 minutes. No cutaway, nothing. Just vagina being pounded by these slapping balls for 2 solid minutes. It probably isn't 2 solid minutes. It's probably more like 30 seconds. It feels like 2 minutes. 30 seconds of just that one shot with no cutaways is way too long. And they don't just use that technique once. It happens
happen a lot.
Several times.
It's sort of a go-to move in the porn industry.
It's so unsexy. What are you meant to be focusing on in that scene? Because all I see is balls.
Which is fine.
It's fine, but it's just not sexy.
It's
balls aren't sexy.
I mean, they can be, but they're not in that specific. Nothing ends up being sexy in that shot.
No, exactly. The vagina is just being pounded. That's not particularly sexy. You can't really see most of the penis, so you can't really cover that. You just got the balls and that sound.
It's just balls and bumhole.
Yeah, and to be honest, you know, the bumhole in that context isn't really being utilised.
No. It's just got balls.
It's just
near
there.
it.
Yeah, it's just near some balls. It's the slapping noise as well, though. That just it's
not great.
No, and it's such a tight shot on this as well that it feels like, you know. Okay, I'm going to put this into terms that maybe the listeners that side more with your taste can understand.
Okay.
You know, in like certain like in realistic space movies where like say Apollo 13, you always have the shot of the rocket taking off, and there's always like a close-up shot of the rocket kind of looking up, and you can see the sky and the rocket shooting off.
Yeah.
It's like the reverse of that, but where the rocket is a penis and the ground is a vagina.
Okay.
And it's just constantly being pounded.
Okay, well...
just like really close up, way too close. You don't need to be that close.
So any listeners that are still remaining after Liam's graphic description of porn, it's not a great film, is the sort of takeaway here, I think.
I'm hoping that I've made that clear.
Yeah, I think you have.
Cool.
Is there anything else that happens in the film? I mean, it all just hits the same notes of 50 Shades. It has the auction scene, which is done in a very shit way.
Oh, so bad.
They just stand on the stairs, and there's only 3 of them.
And they wear shit masks.
Yeah, and they don't use their real names. Which is weird, because the auctioneer's like, we will only be using first names so that you can't identify the women, which is fine.
Yeah.
But then they don't use their real first names anyway, so just say we're using pseudonyms.
Yes. Okay, I didn't think the acting was terrible.
It's not awful. It's not great, though.
It's not great, no. You wouldn't be like, oh, have a award. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. They might have got... There's a lot of weird sex awards you can get, isn't there? I don't know if this movie got any of them.
No, probably not.
Nah, I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. I just... For me, I would have needed more variety and less close-ups.
Yeah. More variety would have been good.
Yeah.
It feels like a bit of a waste to me to do this film and not to make it a bit wilder on the sex, like... a bit more not extreme, but do you know what I mean? Like the scene where his old sub comes back and is going to kill her.
Yeah.
Have that scene end in a 3-way.
Yeah, why didn't it?
Because it's trying to stick too true to the story.
Oh, it doesn't need to, though.
It's both a blessing and a curse. It's one of the things I'm proud of them for, because I'm like, it's impressive that they took it seriously.
But it didn't need to.
Good on them. But also, you know, you missed a trick.
Yeah, they did.
What'd you give it out of 5, Liam?
I mean, how do you rate something like this?
I guess... How aroused were you in the film?
Not very.
1 or a 2?
It's going to be a 1 out of 5.
Yeah, I think I'm giving it a 1 as well.
I mean, I can't really talk too much as to why I wasn't aroused, because it's body shaming, but just none of the actresses...
I mean, the film's not arousing, is the real reason.
Yeah, but also, like, the actresses in it are fine, but, like, if I'm watching a porn, they wouldn't necessarily be who I would choose to watch. Is that fair to say?
I mean, I'm probably cutting it out, but sure.
Alright, cool.
I just wasn't going to tell you, because then you'd move on.
Yeah. I do have a somewhat fun fact, half a fun fact.
Oh yeah, go on, give me your half a fun fact.
Universal sued over this porn adaptation because they claimed that because it stuck so rigidly to the plot, it didn't offer any form of parody or critique.
Yeah, which is... Did they win?
That's why it's only half a fun fact, because I don't know.
You don't know.
But I know they tried to.
They've got a point.
Yeah. The complaint says that it's not a parody, and it does not comment on, criticise, or ridicule the originals. It is a rip-off, plain and simple.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so... Good
fact, Liam.
Well, half a fact.
Good half a fact, Liam.
Yeah. And then apparently, in this same news article, it mentions how Ben and Jerry's sued the makers of a series of porn films.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they sued this film.
No, Ben and Jerry sued the makers of a series of porn films, which included the titles Hairy Garcia, Boston Cream Thigh.
Oh, that's good.
And Peanut Butter D Cups.
Yeah, I think the third one's the weakest out of those titles, but they're all very good. We had this conversation last time about porn titles, and those are good.
This is another issue I had with this one. Shit title.
It is a shit title.
I can't
But you know what you're getting into, because it's kind of just like, hey, this is 50 Shades of Grey, but there's porn in it.
True. I can't remember, so you might have to help me out here. Did the line "I'm 50 Shades of Fucked Up" appear in this movie?
I think it did.
Okay, I would have been
I
disappointed
don't know
if it
for
didn't.
sure.
It was 2 weeks ago that I watched it, and I've pretty much erased as much of it from my
I
mind
watched
as
it
I
3
could.
weeks ago, so I'm even. I do think he did say it. Oh, that's right. In the original film,
Yeah.
he spanks her with a belt, doesn't he, to show
Yes.
her how hard it could be? And in this one, doesn't he just spank her barehanded?
I think so, yeah.
And she gives up a lot quicker.
Oh, yeah. For a porn actress, she gives up real fast.
It's amazing. That scene in the film is much more like, even though we had complaints about it because it is a stupid thing to be like, show me what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And then when he does it, be like, you're horrible.
Yeah.
But in this, it was like, show me your worst, and he's like, okay, and spanks her like 3 times, and she's like, this is terrible.
Yeah. If you had to make someone watch either this or 50 Shades of Grey, what would you go for?
I think the original film is shorter, so that one.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So hopefully, you American mums out there, I know Amanda's mum sometimes listens, so hopefully you enjoyed this.
God, sorry.
I mean,
Sorry.
This was
American
essentially,
mums.
for the American mums, so this was for
Yeah,
you.
which is sort of, now that you've said it that way, I do feel very bad that we did this.
I don't, because
I'm just sorry, everyone.
I'm pleased that we did this instead of a 50 Shades Dark or whatever it's called.
I think that might have been better.
We'll find out on the next UK Mother's Day,
Yes,
if you
we
remember.
will.
If you remember.
I will.
Well.
What are we doing, Liam, next time?
I'd like to say we're going from this to something amazing, but we're not.
We're not.
We've hit a real shit streak at the moment.
We're not seeing something amazing, but it should be an amazing episode.
We're hoping so, because we're having some special guests return, and so we've had them on separately, but now they're joining forces.
We're bringing the old man back together.
Yeah, so Lee and Jason, who Jason, when he was on, recommended this Quebecian
Bon cop, bad cop.
That's it. And Lee recommended
Last Starfire.
So obviously put those two together, what do you end up with?
Obviously, Liam, Wolverine Origins.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Whatever, it's all the same.
Yeah. So I'm excited to find out why they've decided to suggest this.
I'm just excited because I know the last time all 4 of us recorded was for their show.
Yeah. And you all ganged up on me.
No.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We did Kong Skull Island and Godzilla.
Yeah, you were ganged up on
And
me.
that episode ran, I think the recording session was like 4 hours.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Minimum.
Yeah.
And when we've had both of them on separately, we've also recorded for quite a long time. So listeners, be prepared for the next episode to just be hellishly long.
I'm going to rattle through each of these 4 segments as quick as I can.
Yeah, because this culture swap bit's going to need all the time in the world.
Nope, I want this to be an under 1 hour episode.
Oh well, I'll just turn off the call with you. Me, Jason, and Lee will have a solo episode. It'll be great.
I mean, that's practically what happened when we guested on theirs, because my points were not being listened to.
No, that is not
ganged
true.
up on me.
Everyone listened to you. You
ganged
just
up
liked
on
Kong
me.
Skull Island.
You ganged up on me and you bullied me. You did.
Whatever.
Okay, I've got to say, because Lee and Jason will listen to this, I didn't actually feel bullied.
No.
I'm exaggerating for comedic effect.
You're hilarious, Liam. But yeah, so we'll be having Jason and Lee on.
Yeah.
It'll be a great episode.
Well,
Hopefully.
and hopefully, we'll get all their audio. Lee.
Don't stop making Lee feel bad.
It's too late. Will this episode go up before then?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, we're recording on Monday.
Yeah.
It's Thursday.
Oh, they won't have heard this episode till afterwards. Yeah.
What?
Right. Well. Okay, Liam. Let me explain to you quickly how this podcast works. I edit an episode and then I put it live. Right.
Yeah.
So what I tend to do, and if you think this is the wrong way to do it, that's totally fine. But I tend to do it chronologically. So when we record this episode,
Yeah.
right, and then we record the next episode after this, I tend to do this episode first.
Yeah.
So this will go up before the other episode goes up.
Yeah, no, but will it go up before we record with them?
Right, and I literally had just said to you, it might not have.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I wasn't sure of.
I know, but I said that, and then you carried on being confused. So I was like, okay, that's not what Liam's asking.
Yeah, I just got confused. Don't worry about it. So,
Okay.
so hopefully this episode will be up first, because obviously we want people to, one, know that they're just getting on a show,
Yeah.
and two, kind of communicate it and ask them questions. So yeah, join us for the next episode of Nerd on Nerd, where we are joined by our special guests from the Atlantic Stream Connection podcast, Jason and Lee, and we're going to be discussing X-Men Origins Wolverine. I've been Liam Underwood.
I've been Eddie Kempster.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, you can tweet us at Nerd on Nerd. You can email us at nerdonnerdpod@gmail.com. You can Facebook us at facebook.com/nerdonnerdpod. You can rate us and review us on iTunes. If you give us 5 stars, that'd be really helpful. It helps our ratings and stuff. Also, Liam, what's your current number? Oh, you thought I'd forgotten again, Liam. But I slipped it in.
It's been so long.
I forgot last time, and I remember we ended the recording, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I genuinely can't remember when we last did this.
I can tell you. Ooh, actually, I don't know if I can give you the date. Let me tell you what Google says.
Yeah.
Liam's DVD tally. You edited at some point.
Oh, cool. That's useful.
Thank you, Google. What a helpful stat.
So
you've edited this at some point.
Alright, I've got to say some stuff here.
Yeah? You've been sick, so you've probably watched a lot.
No, yeah, a lot of 13 Reasons Why. Watched 7 episodes in one day. It was emotionally draining.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Right, here's the thing.
April 19th, Liam. April 19th was when we last edited it.
So it's been a while. It's been a hot minute.
It's been a little while.
Alright, here's the thing. Let me lay it out for you.
Yeah.
1, my 4K player has stopped working.
Oh, no.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago now. Okay, so this is a big story. This should have gone in catching up with. I forgot. 3 weeks ago, it stops working. Do you remember when you came to visit, I showed you that it kept cutting to black?
It was doing like a...
Yeah.
What was it doing? It was flashing or jumping?
Cuts to black. Just cuts to black.
That's it, cuts to black.
Yeah. It's really annoying. So I took it back to where I got it from because it was still within warranty.
Yeah.
They sent it off, returned it to me, and when I set it all back up, I was still signed into Netflix, so I knew that they hadn't even done the basic, which was a reset and reinstall the
factory
firmware.
Reset.
Yeah, exactly. Which I'd already done, and I knew that wouldn't fix it. But so I knew that they hadn't really looked at it. So naturally, it started erroring immediately. So I got my camera out and I filmed what the problem was. And then that day I took it back and went, look, you've just sent me this back saying that there was no error that you could find. And the person was like really defensive and was like, well, you know, if there's no error, then what can we do? And I got my phone up and I'd taken a video of the error and went, look, it's intermittent, so you have to wait for it. This took me 8 minutes to find because all I did was stick a DVD on and let it play for 8 minutes. But within the first 8 minutes, it started messing up. So I told you that the error was intermittent. You need to give it some time for you to see it, but this is what you're dealing with. So they've asked me to send a video to them. They took the player back. But that was like 2 weeks ago. I haven't heard anything yet. It can take up to 28 days. I think I'm going to have a fight on my hands, basically. But all of this is to say, I haven't been watching Blu-rays as much because it upscales them to 4K. And they just look prettier that way. And the other Blu-ray player I've got doesn't upscale them, so...
But also, Liam, you haven't had a player, so you haven't bought any DVDs. So the change should be minor.
Well, okay, so we haven't been doing this in a while, so I thought I could get away with a couple of cheeky purchases.
And you've been caught out.
And I could probably just slip these past, and by the time we do this again, I probably would have evened out.
Okay, so your last number, Liam...
I don't want to know.
...was 1,097.
Okay, it's not bad. So, alright, so... Okay, here's the thing.
I love when these start with you having to explain, like, that's not bad. Ooh, okay, well,
here's
just one quick thing.
No, it's not bad. Okay, it was 1,097, right?
Yeah.
Factor in that I've done, in the last couple of weeks, 2 of those bloody HMV 5 for 30s. Done 2 of them. The current number is now 1,101. I can't remember what the goal was. What was the goal?
You've got to get below 1,091.
Got to watch 10.
Yeah, and not buy any more.
That's the hard bit.
Yeah.
But I actually genuinely thought you'd forgotten about this, so I thought I could get away with buying some more.
No.
Okay.
You silly thing, Liam.
So. Bye.
Bye.